I'm just gonna leave that on there. All right, who's ready to answer some questions? This guy right here. I've made some efforts to make it a little bit more comfortable, you know, so if I just kind of like chill out a little bit more in this video and just kind of decide to lay back a little bit, just roll with it. I'm leaving my air conditioner on, you know, because I'm probably going to be here a while. But welcome to Answer Time. Holy crap, I own a tablet? That's crazy. I've owned like 4 tablets, and they all end up getting physically destroyed somehow. Not just like freezing or like stop working or just crap out on me. They end up getting physically destroyed in some weird ways. But this one so far hasn't. So I thought it would be more convenient to read my questions on this rather than, you know, print them all out on a piece of paper. Thanks to everybody that sent me in questions. I got like over 2,000. So that was more than I figured. I thought maybe 1,000 at most, but I got a bunch of questions, and some people sent in multiple questions, so that's even more than that. I knew I was not going to answer all of them. It's just not possible, so I figured, all right, I'll take all the questions in a big giant pot, and I'll stir them up, and then I'll the ones that bubble to the surface, the ones that interest me the most, and the ones that I probably haven't really talked about before or I want to talk about, I'll handle those. So thanks to everybody, though, that sent me in a question for this hashtag Techade celebration. Let's get moving, because I got like at least 50 in here. All right. Are there any... This is from Brohamut85. Are there any dream battles that you have about Bleach or anime in general? Like, what would happen if Aizen and Yama would have had an actual fight, stuff like that. Okay, I've thought about this, all right? Listen, here's the thing. We all want, like, the badass, old, like, strong characters in series to fight, right? Like, we want to see Yama go balls out against somebody. Not just so he could be, like, cock-blocked by Wanderweiss and Aizen. Not just so he could be killed by Yuha. We want to see him in, like, a balls-out, epic, like, hellfire battle, and he just takes out the enemy at the end. We never got that in Bleach. But I start thinking, like, imagine if the author did that all the time. You'd eventually start to get a little bit, you know, worn on it. The things that make it special are the fact that we don't see it all that often. Like in One Piece, you can imagine, like, what happens if Whitebeard fought against Rayleigh? That would be such an epic battle. What if Shanks fought against Kaido? Why didn't we get to see that? It's just like, it's too awesome. It's too awesome for the screen. If we saw that all the time, maybe we would care less about the Straw Hats, you know? We just had this epic battle between Shanks and Kaido that was just, like, it blows your head off, and now we're gonna go back to the Straw Hats. Like, no, let's go back to see more of those fights. I want to see more of that. Probably the same reason we also haven't seen the Shanks versus Mihawk fight. Maybe we will see that. I hope we see that some point later, like on a flashback, but damn, man. All right. From Moonstar Inc. So, Tekking, I know you said hashtag not a furry, but if you had to create an anthropomorphic persona, what would it be? I don't know how that one got mixed in there, because, yeah, hashtag not a furry. But no, I would probably be a rabbit. You know, there's a, so I go to Techo every year, and Techo Con is located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center, and so that's in April. There's another convention that's held, I believe, in July called Anthrocon, and that's the furry convention. That's the resident furry convention for the Pittsburgh area. Haven't been to it, but when I go to Techo, there's a lot of furries that go to Techo and walk around in their furry suits, and you know, they're great. They're great. We got pictures with some of them last year. It was great. It was phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a furry persona to, you know, buy, because it's dedicated, you know, those costumes can get really expensive, you know? People look at furries sometimes, and sometimes they might try to avoid them, but you gotta really think into the work. I mean, some of these costumes get really elaborate, you know? Like, you can make them yourself, but you have to have skills with that, or you can buy them, or you can have people make them for you, but you gotta be really specific, and, you know, it's gonna cost an arm and a leg here. But if I was ever going to dedicate that much of my time and energy into building a furry suit or ordering one, I would have to go with a rabbit. I'm gonna go with a slightly yellow, like a kind of like creamy yellow rabbit. That sounded really wrong, so continue. With a pink and white dotted bow tie. There you go. There we go. Hey, Sir Tech, this is from Funny Kids Show. What quote, sentence from whoever stuck with you the most? If so, does the quote impact you in some way? So, yeah, there is a quote. I actually think I put it on my Facebook back when I was, like, giving a shit about my Facebook page. Because my Facebook, my actual account is up. I just never post on there. I don't really use it. But there's a quote from Matt Smith, who played the 11th Doctor in Doctor Who. One of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who is the episode where they meet Vincent Van Gogh, or Vincent Van Gogh, however you want to pronounce that. And at the end of the episode, they basically go back and they mess around with Vincent's life, and we all know how Vincent ended up dying. You know, he killed himself. He had a very tragic life. He was mentally unstable in a lot of different ways. So they go back in time and they, you know, mess around with Vincent and they get to know him and they become his friend and everything. And then later, you know, Amy thinks like, oh, we helped Vincent, therefore he must have never killed himself. He still lived and he made more paintings and he lived a happy life. So they go to the art gallery and they find out he still died. He still killed himself pretty much the exact same way. And Matt Smith, you know, the 11th Doctor, has this really great quote where he's like, you know, just because you add, you know, the good things don't immediately erase the bad things and vice versa. But somebody's, like, the weight of somebody's entire life is basically all their good moments and bad moments, and we definitely added more to his good side than his bad. You know, so you can't just say, it's like, oh yeah, well, we helped Vincent out, therefore everything bad in his life was immediately removed because of that. No, that's silly. But, you know, you should always strive to do good, even if it's just like a drop in the bucket. Even if it's something like, you know, you're walking down the street and you help somebody cross the road, or you hold the door open for somebody, and just really little random acts of kindness like that. Like, it's not like holding the door open for somebody if they're pretty depressed is probably not going to change their entire life around right there, but it's at least a good thing. It's a drop in the bucket, but it's something that's a good thing that at least you're helping them instead of like kicking them while they're down or something. Am I making sense? But that's where I got the quote. That's where I extrapolated from that, and I really like that quote. This is from Passive, all capital letters. I wanted to ask you two things. Okay. This one time, Passive, you can ask two. What are your motivations that let you continue for 10 years, and even though you started off very slow? My motivations at the end of the day were, like, I always felt like I could do this for a living. And it wasn't a very rational thing. It's the same thing of, like, you know, I have a really good feeling this is going to work out. It's like, it's not connected to anything scientific. You don't know for certain it is. It's just kind of like, you have this feeling like, yeah, it's all going to work out if I just keep trucking along. And that's it. And I mean, if we're being completely honest here, way back at the very beginning, a little bit of it was also, I'm going to prove all these people wrong. Because it's like, even my mom and my dad, you know, they don't know much about YouTube. And of course, you know, if I tell them I want to be a YouTuber for a living, they're going to look at me and like, maybe it's a good hobby, but you're not going to be able to make a living off of that, Matthew. And I'm just like, I'm going to prove you guys wrong someday. Because I was a teenager when I started the channel. I was 16 when I started. So there was a little bit of that. A little bit of like, screw you, Mom and Dad. What do you know? I'm going to be a YouTuber. And of course, you know, now it's because my mom really didn't. And she doesn't. My mom does this thing where sometimes when I tell her, I remind her about stuff in the past. Like, remember that time I acted up in the store and you spanked me? And my mom was just like, I don't remember doing that. That must have been your dad. I never hit you. I'm like, you did. I remember it, the belt and everything. But, you know, like, in this particular instance, though, she completely owns up to it. She's like, yeah, I didn't think you were going to be able to make money off this. I didn't think you were going to make a career out of this. And you did. So, I was wrong. Keep on doing it, please. I'm like, okay. And that's, yeah, so there was a little bit of that at the beginning. But mostly it was just like, I know I can do this. If I just keep working at it, I know I can. So, that's the motivation. And how do you schedule for times when you are going on vacations to have uploads daily? I don't go on vacations is the simple solution, simple answer to that question. I went on, like, my first vacation I've went on in, like, literally 10 years was, like, last year we went to Florida. Before that, we did a few day trips. Like, I went to New York for a day or DC for a day for, like, a little day trip or whatever. But that was the first, like, we were gone for, like, a week. And I scheduled some videos to upload beforehand, and it was okay, but when I got back, I missed a few days, and that really did affect my, you know, views and my sub growth considerably. So I learned in the future, if I'm going on an extended vacation, I need to make more videos. So if I'm going on vacation for 7 days, you should probably make 6 or 7 videos previously to upload each of those days that you're going to be gone. That would be the smart move. This one is from Luna Souza. Tekking, if not anime or manga, what would be the theme of your channel? I got a lot of questions like this. Greetings from Brazil. Ooh, Brazil. I know a friend I went to college with that was from Rio de Janeiro, and she said it was a very lovely city, and I would like to visit it someday. Kind of a party city, but, you know, that would be cool. Tekking in Rio. That's a vacation for you. But no, what would be the theme of my channel? I don't even know if I would have my channel, because I did my channel with Medieval, you know, and then after Medieval kind of dried up, there was a period there where I was just kind of like, I tried YouTube, didn't really work out too well, only had like 50 subs, and I was thinking about just deleting the channel, and then the anime and manga thing came along. I can't say, you know, entirely I would have deleted it, or maybe I would have deleted my Tekking101 channel, but then maybe a few years later, like I would have deleted the channel in 2010, and then, you know, went to college and did nothing with anime, did nothing with YouTube, and then in 2015, I suddenly was interested in, I don't know, like, let's make movie reviews on YouTube, and I started a whole new channel about movie reviewing. It could be something like that. I like movies. I like anime. You all know that. I like Game of Thrones. I like The Walking Dead. Liked The Walking Dead. Not anymore. And I guess not Game of Thrones anymore either. But maybe I would have made channels about that, or maybe video games, Pokemon. I'm not sure. Or I would have just not had a channel at all, and I would have just continued my life. Like some weird person. That's, ugh. Okay, moving on. Nope Yeep. Nope Yeep. Have you ever thought about making seasonal recommendation videos? Okay, so I look at that as sort of like, there's a lot of big-time anime YouTubers that already do that, and, you know, I'm looking at that, and what they do is they watch, like, the first episode of all these seasonal anime, and I thought about doing it once. One time, I was like, okay, let me see if I can do this, too. So, I looked up, like, all of the new anime that came out that one season. I don't remember exactly what year it was. It was, like, I think the fall of 2015, 2016, whatever. I looked into like all the anime that came out, and it was like a crap ton, and I'm looking at all of them, and I'm just like, man, I'm gonna have to watch like 20-something episodes of all these different anime and then make a video on it. And I felt like at the end of the day, like, you know, people like the Anime Man, Joey, you know, Misty, Giga, Aki Deers, they all do that kind of same video whenever a new season comes out, right? So I'm like, they got this on lockdown, they're doing it well. And it's just, you know, I just gravitated more toward manga at the end of the day. I mean, I talk about anime too, obviously. They kind of go hand in hand. You know, you can't really reference manga without bringing up anime once in a while. But when it really comes down to it, I'm better at manga. I just gravitated more towards that than anime. Anime is the kind of thing I watch, and I think there's another question in here that's related to that. But anime is what I watch really on my downtime. You know, when I read a new One Piece chapter, I have to analyze it, and I have to make a review and everything. But with anime, it's just like, oh, new episode of One Punch Man's on. New episode of Attack on Titan's on. I'm just gonna sit down and just watch it. I'm not gonna worry about taking notes. I'm not gonna worry about making a video about it or how I'm gonna structure the video or what I'm gonna say. I don't want to worry about any like that. I just want to sit down and just watch a show. You know? And that's kind of what I do on my downtime. All right, what's next? From, I believe that's Saudi Arabian or maybe Russian. I'm not really sure, but from Nick. Question: what manga anime would you, what anime or manga you wish you could have watched or read while it was still serializing? For me, it's probably going to be Dragon Ball. I would probably go Yu Yu Hakusho. Okay, because there's even times when I go back and watch Yu Yu Hakusho or read Yu Yu Hakusho, and I'm like, man, I wonder what the people would have been thinking, like, when it first came out, like, first released and stuff, what this character was going to do and everything. And it was serialized in, I think, the early 90s. Yeah, the early 90s. And I was born in the early 90s. I was born in 93 when it was in the middle of serialization. But, you know, I was born in the wrong country, and I was, like, a little bit too young. You know, I'm not going to be, like, 2 months old and, like, here's a copy of Yu Yu Hakusho we imported from Japan. So, yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho would probably been my go-to, because that's a great manga. That's a great series. I love Togashi. And it's like, if you're going to put it, like, in my opinion, if you're going to put between Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho, those are really great series that really helped, you know, build the genre, especially in the West. Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho in the West really helped pave the way for later animes, but I would still go Yu Yu Hakusho over Dragon Ball, in my personal opinion. From Joel. The last time I asked you this, you couldn't really remember the answer because it's been quite a while since you talked about it. What exactly does fondle stand for? Okay, so F-O-N-D-L-E. All right, so there's a story behind this, okay? When I started doing manga reviews in summer of 2011 on the channel, I reviewed the big three. I reviewed Naruto, Bleach, One Piece all in the same day. The editing was a lot less intensive, so that's how I could kind of just knock them all out, because doing 3 different manga reviews the same day now, that's terrifying. But I did them all 3 the same day, right? So every now and then, though, Naruto in particular, One Piece every now and then, but Naruto, more often than not, would end up getting taken down. That's the one that Shueisha was, for whatever reason, particularly protective of. One Piece, yeah, I think once or twice I got it taken down. Bleach never got taken down. Naruto, I think, got taken down like 3 or 4 times. You know, sometimes resulting in a strike. And it's like, oh my god. So finally, I got so annoyed by this, I made like a parody chapter review where I didn't even mention, like, I gave all the different Naruto characters different names. I didn't even say the name Naruto in the entire video. I did a video on Naruto without saying the main character's name or the title of the series. I named Naruto the Foxy Orange Ninja, and fondle was Foxy Orange Ninja delivering lasting errors. The last part didn't really make a lot of sense. I just wanted it to be fondle because that's a funny word, so let's just go with that. I had Foxy Orange Ninja down. Like, okay, I want to do something with fawn. So fawn, it's either fondue or fondle, and fondle's just funnier, so I went with fondle. But yeah, I did an entire review. I think I named, Sasuke, like, Cloud Emo Heart, a combination of Cloud Strife and Squall, Lionheart from Final Fantasy 7 and 8, respectively. Yeah. I think I need, like, Rock Lee, Bruce Lee, or whatever. Just, that's the premise there. From Nonfaniel. Hey, Tekking, hope you're doing well. Just a quick question. Gamer? Question mark? Kind of. Like, right now, I'm playing Fire Emblem Awakening on my DS. This is my new 3DS. I didn't buy it back when I first played it. A friend of mine from college let me borrow Fire Emblem Awakening. Loved the game. I returned it to her, and then when I gave it back to her, she was like, so, which characters did you couple up and marry and have kids? And I'm like, what? I went the entire game without anybody getting married or having any kids, except for Lucena, because that's like that's throughout the, plot of the game. But it's like, there was an entire aspect of the game I just completely missed. I didn't even bother. I was just fighting everybody, and that would have probably made, because I'm playing it again now, and I'm actually doing a lot better than I did the first time, not just because I played it before, but I now have access to a lot more characters, and I know how to pair them up and everything, and yeah, and that's why I had such a hard time with the game the first time, right? So, yeah, I was an idiot, and recently I remembered the game, and I'm like, man, I really want to play this game again. It's been probably about 4 years, like, I think 2014 is when I played it the first time, so I went and bought another copy, and I'm playing it now. So, yeah, I'm a gamer in that sense. I'm much more, as a rule, I end up gaming on portable consoles more than home consoles. I have a PlayStation. Every now and then I'll get really sucked into a game, and I'll be addicted to it for, like, a month, and then I'll play it like crazy, like, every single day, multiple times a day, and then I'll just get tired of it and go away. I was even addicted to, like, Friday the 13th, the game was for a while, and then Fortnite for a while. Fortnite was for a while, yeah. Fortnite was, like, from summer to, like, I think when December, like when season 6 ended with Fortnite. It's like season 6 was when I was really like crazy about it, like around Halloween. And then Persona was in January of this year. I started playing Persona in late December, early January, and I love Persona 5. I played that for like, a solid month and a half. I played the game like twice. Like it was crazy. Like twice and a half, really. From Jesus Garcia. Hey, Matt, what's your worst regret? All right, I had to really think about this one. My worst regret. I wanted to pick something that was, like, had some effect on my life later on. Like, not something, like, my worst regret is not having that last donut at the cafe. Like, I wanted to know what it tasted like. I just thought, it's too much sugar. I decided not to. Nothing like that. So this is what I came up with for my worst regret. When I was in high school, which I graduated almost 10 years ago now, which is, that's also scary. But when I was in high school, I did not do anything outside of, like, the bare basic what you're supposed to do. Like, I went to school, I went to class, I didn't sleep during class, I didn't slack off, I didn't just, drop out of school or whatever. I did the bare minimum. But I always regret that I didn't do anything else. Because I look back and it's just like, man, that would have been the time of your life, 4 years of your life where I could have been trying out all these new things, and I just didn't do it. And it's the reason I didn't do it is because I always said to myself, you suck at it, you would fail, you wouldn't be good at it, so don't try. It's like, you know, every now and then I would entertain the idea very briefly to be like, maybe I should try out for swimming, or maybe I should try out for baseball or something. Now, there's a few sports like tackle football I don't think I'm really cut out for, or like basketball because I'm 5'5.5". Maybe not that sport, but there's other sports, you know what I mean? Like, my dad played baseball when he was in high school. He really loved that. Still a huge baseball fan, my dad. You know, you know, I could have done that. I could have done tennis. I could have done, because I'm playing tennis now and I really like it. I could have tried track. I don't know if I would have been really good, but I could have tried. This is you, and if you don't think that you're going to be good at a sport, all right, you know, that's the whole point, kind of, isn't it? Like, you start off not being very good at the sport, and then you try harder and harder, and you progressively get better at said sport, right? Right? Is that not correct, right? So, like, I'm like, oh man, I can't try out for track because I can't run that far. And I'm like, I'm freaking Mob from Mob Psycho. Mob Psycho wasn't out yet, but it's like, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to run very far, and I'm gonna collapse on the freaking track, and everyone's gonna laugh at me. And just like, if I would have started track when I was in freshman year and I really worked at it, you know, I probably wouldn't have been, you know, like, running the 300-meter dash or whatever it was. I probably wouldn't be the best runner in the entire school by the time I was a senior, but I would be probably a little bit better than you know, when I started, you know? That's kind of the point. It's not like you have to be, like, the best at something to try out for a sport. It's not like, all right, I'm your swim coach. Every new freshman that's trying out for the swim team, all of y'all better be the same level as Michael Phelps, because if you're not, there's the door. We only accept the best of the best here. It's high school. You know, like, that's the whole point. It's like, all right, you come here and you kind of suck, and then we try to make you not suck quite as hard, all right? Like, that's the point. So, I wish I would have tried out for a sport, you know? I might have not have been very good, or if I wasn't very good, or if I just didn't like the sport, I could try out for another sport, you know? Like, freshman year, I could have tried out for track, and if I didn't do very good at track, or if I didn't like it very much, I'd be like, okay, screw this, I can quit whenever I want, and next year, sophomore year, I could try out for tennis. I did nothing. Not only sports, but there was clubs. There was a bunch of clubs that I would have liked. I'm looking back and I'm like, man, I could have joined the student news. Like, we had an audio-visual club. Like, we had a closed-circuit television studio and stuff. We had a green screen. I knew some friends that were working there, and that connects back to what I'm doing right now. I would have loved to do that, didn't do it. There was a mock trial and, like, the debate team. I'm looking back on that now. I was like, I would have probably liked that. Mock trial, there's band. I could have, like, I don't know how to play any instruments, but that's the point. But I could have easily went up to him during the school and just went up to him and been like, hey, I want to really join band, but I don't know how to play any instrument. I doubt he would have just looked at me and been like, bah, away with you. This is a place for music. No, he probably would have been like, okay, well, what are you interested in playing? And I'd be like, I don't know, you know, flute, I guess, like, or saxophone. Like, he could have given me a saxophone at, like, you know, freshman year, and I would have been like, not knowing how to work on it. But if I tinkered with it and I practiced, I wouldn't be like at, you know, Saxophone Jones. I don't know any famous saxophone players. I wouldn't be like Saxophone Jones, like do-do-do-do-do-do-do by the end of the year, but I would have probably been average by senior year if I would have worked at it, right? You figure that's the thing. So, look, and you know, there were other reasons why I didn't do it, because I'm just like, I always kind of told myself, I'm like, that's extra shit you gotta do. You know, that's extra stuff out of your day, you know? I don't have I want to get done with school, and I just want to go home and play video games all night. I don't have time for that crap. I mean, like, for most people, after you're done with high school, you're not gonna have a lot of free time. Like, for most people, you're going to go to college, and then you're going to have a career, and if you're working, like, a 9-to-5, like, full-time job, you know, 5 days a week, maybe more, the amount of free time you're going to have is going to be vastly more limited than when you had in high school. So take advantage of it. I sort of got lucky there with YouTube, and I don't know how long this is going to last, but I got lucky with YouTube. So now I'm learning Japanese, I'm playing tennis a little bit more, you know. In fact, I was playing basketball the other day in my town, just by myself, just getting exercise and stuff, and there was a guy that, you know, moved in, and he's like, hey, do you play tennis? And I'm like, yeah, I play tennis. And he's like, okay, well, they just redid the court. You want to play tennis sometime? So I guess I have someone to play tennis with now, and just like, so it's good I have free time now to do all this extra shit, but that's not standard for most people. All right, like my mom, she works a full-time job, sometimes 6 days a week. She's freaking exhausted by the time she's done. She doesn't have time to do a bunch of other free stuff, right? So really, if you're in high school, if you're going into high school, if you're like in the middle of it right now and it's like, I don't know if I should try out for a sport, or I don't know if I should do a club or anything extra, like seriously do, because I'm going to tell you, more often than not, I mean, I can't speak for you, but more often than not, I feel like you would feel regret for that later on in your life, so do something. Now, when I was in college, I did get a little bit more involved. I actually was the president of the anime club, which isn't like the most amazing thing ever, but it was something. I was doing something. So anyway, that's my worst regret, I suppose. I know it wasn't like life-altering, but I guess it kind of was in a certain way. Alicio Carlo, if you could turn one series into a hentai, which series would it be and why? Attack on Titan, because I mean, it kind of already is in a little while. I mean, giant naked men all around chasing after people. I mean, oh, but I just thought of this the other day. Is Attack on Titan technically a giant mech anime? Because think about it. I know what you're going to say. No, it isn't. But no, think about it. Giant mech anime, you got like Gundam and shit. You got people getting into the giant robot suits and piloting them and fighting against the other giant robot suits. Is that not kind of the same premise as Attack on Titan? Didn't I think Isayama is the mangaka of Attack on Titan? Didn't Isayama sit down and been like, well, let's do the same thing with giant mechs, except instead of, robots, let's just make them giants. Like organic beings that you could just summon around you and pilot from the inside and fight against other giants. It's kind of I consider Attack on Titan to be part of the giant mech anime, perhaps a little bit. Kenny K asks, what is the most life-changing decision you've ever made? My life-changing decisions. Not eating that donut at the cafe, though. Okay, backstory on the donut. I gotta explain the backstory on the donut, alright? So, there was a cafe at the college I used to go to, right? And they had, like, sweets and stuff, and there was this donut on the shelf, and they had really nice donuts, right? But there was this one donut that had, like, chocolate, but I think coconut on it. It just looked delicious. But like, this was right after one of my friends told me, because I am not very good when people tell me stuff about, like, health. I get really paranoid about it. Like, when my one friend told me, like, he's like, hey, Matt, you drink a lot of iced tea. That's a lot of sugar. You gotta be careful. You might go diabetic if you drink too much. And this was, like, a week after that, so I'm really fucking paranoid about drinking or having too much sugar. Like, gotta watch sugar. Gotta have a sugar. Sugar's bad. Sugar's bad. And I see that donut, and I'm like, oh my god, that donut looks so freaking delicious. It's, like, chocolate and coconut, and I love chocolate and coconut. It was dark chocolate, too, and I'm like, and I'm like, I want that donut, but I can't have that donut. I'm just, like, in line buying, like, something. I'm buying, like, a water or something in line, and I'm just looking over at that donut, and there's, like, one left, and I'm just... And I go up, and I didn't get the donut. And, when I walked away from the donut, I initially was like, yeah, good, that's less sugar in your body. That's awesome. But, now, years later, I'm like, what was the donut like? And I've never seen another donut like it since then. It's hard to describe the donut. But no, like, life-changing event, I mean, that's YouTube. I mean, that is. The moment when I decided to devote most of my free time to this. Because there was a moment where I was like, after I graduated high school, I could have focused on, like, another major. Because when I went to community college, that was just for my general studies. But, I could have went forward to, like, proper university. I could have went for biology. I could have went for engineering or whatever. I don't know. I could have devoted just to learning more and more about that, but I decided, no, this. I think this is going to yield results. And it ended up happening, but you never know. But yeah, that's definitely a life-changing moment. The Athens 619, whose avatar looks like Josh Peck from The Amanda Show. Here's a question. Will you do a face reveal? Yeah. Da 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 da. I wish I was a magician. I would have studied stuff about magicians, and I would have had a different face when I did this. Or it's like, yeah, guys, I had a mask on the entire time. I was horribly disfigured in a car accident at the age of 8, and I've always worn a prosthetic mask. Here's my real face. I wish I could do that, but I can't. From Zayax. Yo, have you played any Soul Calibur games? And if so, which one and which character are you best with? Yoshimitsu is my main. All right, I think I've played Soul Calibur once in my life. I was down at my friend's place, and he had a GameCube, and I believe Soul Calibur was on that, and I played it, you know, a few rounds, just trying out some random characters. I do not remember the majority of the characters, but I do say, because I'm me, Ivy is my favorite, for obvious reasons. You can look her up if you want to know. She has big tits. She has, like, huge, like, giant boobs. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I like her. I like this lady. She's nice. From Menno Grafmans, you said you're a big fan of mythology and history. Would you be interested in an historically accurate series? Not the over-top action like Berserk, for example. The most accurate I know in terms of battle and armor is Maria the Virgin Witch. I've never heard of that. It takes place during the 100-Year War, but it still has magic and stuff. Okay, so I thought about this, and I came to this conclusion. It's like, I love mythology and stuff. I just love it, right? But when it comes to serializing a manga, or even like a comic book, or selling a TV show, I mean, you could do stuff, you know, historically accurate, all that stuff. You can maybe make an historical figure a main character in your show. Not to say you can't do that, but you're trying to get people to watch it. You're trying to make entertainment. That's what manga is. That's what comics and movies and video games and shows are at their fundamental level. You're trying to make something that people can be interested in to watch. So in terms of manga, let's say Ancient Egypt, for example. Let's say there was a manga about Ancient Egypt, but it was completely historically accurate. There was no magic or anything. It just followed like Tutankhamun and his rise to power. It would be interesting to read, you know, especially if you're into that kind of stuff. But I'm feeling like unless you were really already interested in ancient Egyptian, like, history and lore and mythology, you really wouldn't be super into it. You know what I mean? If there was nothing else about the series, it was just manga format telling the story of King Tutankhamun. That would be cool if you were really into it, but otherwise you probably wouldn't read it. Now, if you add in some spice and some flair where the main character, oh no, here's King Tut, he's the main character, but he's also a shonen protagonist, and all of the Egyptian gods are, like, real, and, like Horus gives you the power of flight, and, like, you have different vassals, like, different sentries of each Egyptian god, like, I am the vassal of Sekhmeton, I am the, you know, the vassal of Ra, who's, like, the king of ancient Egypt, who can summon giant suns from his hands, and throw them, and then there's Horus who can fly, and then there's Anubis who's like the main villain, like, you know, the Lord of the Dead that can resurrect zombies to fight for him. I mean, like, that would add the flair to get, okay, I'm gonna pick this up now. This is pretty cool. You could still have historical figures. You could still have the Egyptians getting into battles and stuff as they did. You could still have references to Egyptian culture. Like, this is how agriculture worked. You know, they could have, like, a little lesson about how agriculture and how the Nile was important and everything and all that stuff. But in order to sell it weekly, you would probably have to add the flair. And I'm okay with the flair. Like, I love reading Kingdom, and Kingdom takes place in ancient China during the Warring States period, and they have all the Warring States named just like they did back then, and I believe the king is the same king, the name of the same king that lived back that day that united everybody. But then you have Shin, who gets into crazy shonen protagonist badass ways. Well, Kingdom is more of a seinen, but you know what I mean? Like, Shin's charging into battle and just jumps over a spear wall and just starts hacking apart people, and he doesn't get cut and he doesn't get killed, and it's like, okay, that's a little bit of suspension of disbelief there. That guy would get skewered if this was a real life setting. But you have to add that flair to it for entertainment purposes, otherwise you aren't going to read it. So that's what it comes down to fiction. Now what you're talking about here is kind of more like a documentary on the History Channel. Once again, something that I would be interested in, but I don't think, like, a documentary on the History Channel all about ancient Egypt is going to garner, like, you know, like a crazy worldwide following, like, you know, like certain manga or comic books do, you know what I mean? Alright. XX Crimson Flame XX, if you've seen Detective Pikachu, what would be your Pokemon partner in Rhyme City? Porygon. Porygon's always been my favorite Pokemon. In fact, do I still have it in here? I think I moved it somewhere else, but this was this weirdest thing. I have my Game Boy Advance, my Game Boy Color in here. This isn't an Advance, this is a Game Boy Color. But when I was, and Pokemon Red. Oh. I have everything Pokemon in here except the thing I wanted to show you. I was literally walking home, and I live out in this middle of a country village, out in the middle of the woods, you know, and I'm just walking home one day, and there was a random Pokemon card just lying on the sidewalk, and I picked it up, and it was Porygon, who is my favorite Pokemon. I'm like, what are the odds? So I kept it. It's somewhere, but yeah, so Porygon, because he's also a Digimon, kind of. He counts as both. Noah 10. Tekking, what do you think about starting a Minecraft server? So, I don't like Minecraft. I've never played it. Well, I tried playing it once. Not really my thing. Never really got into it. The only reason I left this question in here is because I just found out recently Minecraft started in 2009, the same year I started my YouTube channel. So, I put it in here just as a nice little parallel, like, Tekking and Minecraft are the same age. And I've seen some pretty cool stuff with Minecraft. Like, I did this, I think I did it in a video once. I mentioned, like, I can't remember what the video was, but it was like I was comparing something to, like, oh, I know what it was. It was like a Hunter x Hunter video about Nen, where you could do all this crazy stuff with Nen. Like, Nen gives you the raw materials to work with, but you can build it into anything. And I made a comparison to Minecraft, where people take the raw materials in Minecraft, and if you don't know what you're doing, like me, all you could really do with it is like, I built a house or whatever in Minecraft. But then there's people that take it to the next level where they build like working word processor units inside of Minecraft using all that redstone. Or they built, like, somebody even told me they built a working Game Boy inside of Minecraft with all the different components and everything, like millions of moving parts. But, you know, that's like takes it to the next level. But yeah, I like that aspect of Minecraft, but I've never really gotten into it. From Sunbro LQ84I. What's the story behind Fooly Cooly changing your life? That's got to be pretty juicy. I made a video about it. Go on the channel and type in Fooly Cooly Memories or FLCL Memories. To give you the short version of it, you know, Fooly Cooly is a series. It's very metaphorical, I guess. It's about a main character. It's about the main character Naruto, who's like an 11-year-old or 12-year-old. He's like just on the cusp of being a teenager, and he has to deal with a lot of weird feelings, like, you know, girls, and which girl do I like, you know, and do I really like her? Because it's just all these really confusing questions you have to deal with when you're that age, right? And a lot of it just doesn't make sense, and you end up just looking like an idiot a lot of times. I watched Fooly Cooly when I was around Naota's age. And so all the weird shit going on that's like running parallel to Naota's emotional states, like that made sense to me when I was watching it for the first time, and it just blew me away, and it just made sense. And it really got me interested in more like different kind of anime, because like up until that point I was a big fan of anime, but we're talking like, you know, Naruto, Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, much more like shonen kind of deals. Fooly Cooly was like taking place in much more realistic, I mean, I know what you're gonna say, but realistic in the sense of like, this is the main character, he's a teenager, and there's a moment where he breaks down in front of Haruko, like, where did you go? I missed you, I don't know what to do without you, and it's just sitting there, and it's like, getting a little teary-eyed. It's just like, huh, I can kind of feel for him, all these weird emotions that are swirling around in his head. Also the reason why I'm really digging Mob Psycho, for those same reasons. Main character of Mob Psycho 100 is a middle school student and has to deal with a lot of these internal struggles that are brought into like more of like symbolically, you know, attacking him as like angry spirits and stuff, and the way he counters the angry spirits and everything, all that stuff. And it gets way more symbolic later, but I'm not going to spoil the webcomic for you. But yeah, Bruno Choco, why did you never made an Naruto-focused video? Okay, yeah, I tried making a video, like a geography is everything on the Naruto-verse, and it was one of those very few instances where I sat down, I got everything set up for the video, I got a costume, I had, not a wall scroll, but I like taped a bunch of pictures of Naruto characters to my wall, and I had all this stuff set up, and I had a whole chart of all these Naruto regions to talk about. I couldn't do it. I spent like an hour not even getting through the intro, because it's like I started to realize, like, I don't know that much about the Naruto world as much as One Piece and Bleach. I could sit down and talk about One Piece islands without even really, like, I always refresh my memory on the wiki, but I could sit down and talk about, alright, we're talking about Dressrosa today. Alright, so there's the main area, Dressrosa, there's also Acacia, which is a port city, there's the Sunflower Field, there's the Tontada tribe living on Greenbit, that's the northwest of Dressrosa, and there's the giant bridge that's attacked by the fighting fish, there's the Colosseum, there's the Smile Factory. Like, I could, I could just pull all that stuff right out of my brain. Naruto, it's like, okay, there's the land of fire and the Konoha, and then there's the land of earth and the land of stones, and then there's the land of, wait, no, okay, there's the land of, no, there's the land of rocks, and then there's the land of, wait, no, there's, okay, there's the land of earth, but then there's the hidden village of the rocks and the hidden village of the stones. And then there's the hidden village of the wind with no hidden village of the sand, which is in the land of the wind. That's what I was doing the entire time. And it's like, fuck, I can't do this. And so I just ended the video. I can't do it. It's not for me. And I just, you know, was not interested in doing it beyond then. And that's one of the key things for doing a video for me. I have to be like really into it. Like, yeah, I'm going to do this video. And if I lose that interest, then it just kind of evaporates. Like, poof. And that's happened to me a lot, where I'll come up with video ideas before I even get to film them, and the idea will just, like, evaporate. Like, yeah, wasn't I gonna do that video about giant anime swords? Yeah, I was really into it. I'm like, not really feeling it anymore. That's how it goes. Anime Talks 101. What were your intentions when you first started? You know, like, just to see if people like to watch what I wanted to, like, what I was making, basically. But also, you gotta figure, like, I started the channel when I was 16, and there's a lot of people starting YouTube channels when they're, like, little kids, like 7, 8, 9 years old. It's younger now than it's ever been, because, you know, it's much more mainstream now, and I think little kids will watch, like, PewDiePie or all these, like, gamer YouTube channels that are really successful, and they'll say to themselves, like, hey, PewDiePie likes playing video games. You know, like, a little 7-year-old kid's not gonna have much else going on. It's like, I like playing video games, too. I'm gonna play video games and get popular on YouTube. So, I think, like, when you start off, like, even though you know the odds of you getting super popular, like, over 10 million subs, because you have to understand, like, there's less than, like, I think 500 people that have over 10 million subs out of the millions of YouTube channels. Not very many comparable have that many. It's very, very hard to get that high. You might strike lightning, like, you might get, like, oh, wow, I went from 0 to 1 million in 1 year, and then another year later, I'm at 5 million, then another year later, I'm at 20 million. Maybe, it could happen, but the odds are certainly against you. But I think when you first start off, it's sort of like when you buy a lottery ticket, you know, like you go to the store, like, I got the Powerball, there's like a $300 million jackpot, and you get the Powerball ticket, and it's like, I know I'm not going to win the 300 million jackpot. It's not going to happen. The odds are absurd. You know, my chances of winning this might as well be 0. But when you buy the ticket and you get it in your hands, maybe you have a little bit of a moment like, yeah, but how cool would it be if I did win the $300 million jackpot? You know, and of course you don't win, but it's like, maybe, I mean, it would be cool to think about it. I think it's kind of the same deal with YouTube, where when you start off, it's like, okay, I've never technically tried this before, so I might be a natural. I might be a guy that's gonna revolutionize the entire platform and just boom, rocket up into the fucking higher echelons of YouTube. Give me a year and I'll be bigger than freaking Markiplier or whatever. Maybe, but probably not. Most likely not. But it's good to dream. And when I started, I can't lie and say at the age of 16 I didn't think like, yeah, well, maybe I'll get really big really quick. Who knows? It's kind of, it's okay to dream. It's just, it's not, I would say when it starts getting bad is like, you know, you don't want to feel like that's your ultimate goal, and then when you fall short of that, or you feel like you're not making progress, you get dejected and you go away. I think a lot of kids have to deal with that, because a little kid, you know, like let's say you're 7 years old and you're watching PewDiePie and you start your own channel talking about video games. After 3 or 4 months of doing a YouTube channel, if you even make it that far, the little kid only has maybe, like, let's say they only have 100 subs at best, and it's like, that's a lot for maybe them, but it's like, oh, I'm not making that many subscribers, or I'm not getting that much money, or I'm not any money really, and I'm not even close to getting up to PewDiePie level, and you get dejected and you go away. The best way to do it when you're first starting out is you got to set goals that are at least, like, feasible for yourself. Like, your first goal is, all right, start a YouTube channel, just get to 100 subscribers. First goal. Then it might take you a week, it might take you a month, it might take you many months, but get to 100. Then at 100, your next goal is 1,000, and then 10,000, and then 50,000, and 100,000. Just keep doing that. Right now, my goal is 500K. I'm at 400, I'm probably going to hit 500K. Million, probably, it'll probably take a few more years, maybe 4 or 5 more years, but I think I could hit 1 million eventually. But I'm certainly not sitting here being like, all right, I gotta get up to 80 million subs. I'm like, I have no hope that I would ever get that high. I don't even think I would want to get that many subs, because you get to a certain level where it's like, you know, you're no longer just like a YouTuber, you're basically a celebrity, and like everybody has their eyes on you. Like everybody has their eyes on you. So if you screw up a little bit, like it doesn't just get talked about by other YouTubers. Like news media are now talking about you. I don't think I want to get to that level, but like if I can hit 1 million, I'd be happy with that. Like if I hit 1 million, I'd be like, all right, well, I hit 1 million, so I guess I'll try for 2 million and everything. But I think after I hit 1 million, I'm not going to be like, all right, first 1 million, now 10 million, then the world. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. It's going to be like, I hit 1 million, awesome, great, I did it, woo. But it's not like YouTube gives you, like, they give you the golden play button when you hit 1 million, but it's not like, it was like, congratulations on reaching 1 million subscribers, here's your check, Tekking, for $1 million. I'm like, whoa, like, no, it's nothing like crazy incentive to get to 1 million. I do want the gold play button, but beyond that, like, it could be 4 or 5 or 10, another 10 years until I hit 1 million. I'm fine with it. All right. Have things gone the way you thought they would? No, but in a good way. Josh Downer, what character would you make the biggest shockwave in One Piece world if they were to, in this instant, miraculously just die? Oh, like if a character were to just die. Okay, so, like, that would just make a shockwave in the One Piece world. Probably, like, Shanks or somebody. I don't want to say any of the Straw Hats. It would have to be somebody big. Like, imagine, like, if they're fighting Kaido and then Kaido just has, like, a heart attack and died. So, probably a Yonko. If one of the Gorosei died, you know, like, there's other ones that could replace him. If Im-sama died, you know, nobody really knows about his existence, so it's not like his entire, like, everybody in the world would be like, what? But right now, I would probably say just Shanks or Kaido, like a Yonko, if they were to just drop dead, like, that would cause, like, huge shocks throughout the world. Abu Tayesh asks, what was your reaction when you found out you have a large following in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia specifically, especially because of the language barrier? What was my reaction? Well, it was this. When I read this question like 2 days ago, because I didn't know I knew I had fans all over the world. You know, but if you look at this is like my map of all my demographics and everything, all the different areas of the world where people watch my videos. The countries that are more blue are more densely populated with my viewers, with my subs, and with the ones that are more white, those are the ones that have less viewers. As you could see, the United States and England are like the two ones that, and Canada as well, those areas, like the English-speaking countries, and Australia a little as well, are more blue. The countries that are in green, those are, I think, the Congo and North Korea, where there's no data for those, so they have to estimate, which maybe I do have at least one fan in North Korea. If that's the case, try to get out of North Korea, damn. But, yeah, I mean, I knew I have fans all over the world, but I didn't know any, like, in particular, like, if you just look at the map here, it's not like a crazy densely populated ones in Saudi Arabia. But, yeah, I mean, I've had people contact me and say that my videos help them learn English better, which I don't feel like I'm qualified to teach anybody a language, because I don't know if I could even speak English that best myself, and also you're picking up a Pennsylvania accent along the way. But, I mean, like, I appreciate it, and listen, however you want to watch my videos, for whatever reasons, it's cool, but I appreciate you guys watching me. Maybe they don't even maybe understand what I'm saying, but they just like the fact that I'm a weird guy that talks about anime. I'm not really sure what the anime culture is like in the Middle East or Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure if it's, like, accepted more like the nerd culture is in America, you know, where more and more people are getting into it, or if it's something that a lot of people kind of frown upon, you know. It's like, that's just some, like, because for a long time, I mean, anime in America, like in the 90s and stuff, it was more underground, and it was more just like, you watch Japanese cartoon, freaking nerds. Now it's much more mainstream. Now, whenever somebody asks me, hey, Matt, what do you do on YouTube? And I say, do you know what anime is? Most people, even, like, older people, will say, yeah. I mean, they might not watch, like, every episode of No Rin, which is what I'm watching right now, by the way, coincidentally, but they'll know what anime is, you know? Like, so I don't know what it's like in Saudi Arabia, but I appreciate fans from all over the world. I even get people that send me messages like, I don't even, like, I just like having noise to fall asleep to, and your videos are like 30 minutes long, so they fit that bill perfectly. So I watch your videos to fall asleep, and I'm just sitting there like, my computer just fell asleep, but I'm just sitting there like, you know what? If that's what you do, I'm just glad you're watching or listening, whatever you do, okay? But yeah, so what's next? Tactics. Hey, Tekking, I would like to know when you move out, what kind of computer and recording setup would you like to have? Okay, so this is a little bit of a thing here. I thought about this. Like when I moved out, how would I set everything up? I want to have like my little office area where I have more space and I can arrange everything the way I want, because this is my bedroom obviously. So I've had to kind of work around my bed and work around my closet and my all this other stuff, my dressers and everything. But this is my setup right now. I have my computer right here, and that's my main monitor, and then I have my television right here, like on my dresser, and then I have an HDMI cable running there. So I use my TV more for a computer monitor rather than a TV. So what I can do is I can just take these pillows here and just kind of stack them up right here. Take a head pillow for some head support there, and I could just lean back, and I could just be like, yep, and this is what I do. This is my setup. I sit here, have my, my desk actually raises up right here so I can grab my mouse, and I can, you know, change things on my screen, and I can watch videos. This works great for porn, too, by the way. Like, you got 2 screens right here, 2 pictures each. You know, you got 4 pictures right there, and you could just go crazy with it. This is a nice setup. I like this. I don't want this to go away. So if I move out, I might end up getting a setup that's exactly the same, because I can't imagine life not like this. Like sitting here, the perfect combination of this is like the perfect sedentary lifestyle. You're sitting here in your bed, perfectly comfy. You got a big screen in front of you. You got a screen here. You got your mouse here. I can take my keyboard, wireless keyboard, plop that right there, and just... I edit like this sometimes too. I edit my videos like this too. I kind of move back and forth between, you know, sitting up this position and laying down, but you know, that's life for me. So if I move out, I'm gonna have to get maybe another computer and have the same setup, like this setup in my bedroom and then another setup in my office. I don't know. Jeremy Drosdale. Have you ever been moved to tears by an event you weren't expecting? I don't mean something that's meant to elicit tears as a response. Well, I talked about the Fooly Cooly. There's a few episodes of Fooly Cooly that made me a little, you know, weepy-eyed at. Oh, man, what? There was something recently that I, you know, started to get a little weepy at. Oh, it was Endgame. Yeah, but Endgame, I mean, there's a few times in Endgames it kind of makes you, like, when at the end of it with, like, Tony and everything, like, you're expected to cry there. So that doesn't really count. But yeah, nothing really comes to mind at the moment. Like, something I encountered that made me kind of like want to cry, but it wasn't meant to be sad. It wasn't meant to like force you, like, yeah, all these characters you love are dying, cry now. I'm like, nothing like that. You know, I'm not gonna come out and say like I'm not a crier, but I don't cry super often. You know, it doesn't typically happen. But yeah, I'm just gonna go with Fooly Cooly for that. If your channel hadn't taken off and you hadn't been able to go to make YouTube your job, where you would be in life right now? That's the question, isn't it? I've thought about that many times. You know, what would I think everybody has. You know, what would my life be like without X? You know, what would my life be like if I didn't go to college, or if I didn't go to college for this degree? What would my life be like if I accepted that job across the country, or in a different country, or on a different continent? You know, like, I think we all think about stuff like that every now and then. So my parallel version of myself that I created, you know, just out of nowhere, that might very well exist somewhere out there in the multiverse, is a version of me that dropped YouTube when he was in high school and then went to college for something like super successful, like, you know, bioengineering or something. And I'm now living in a really nice house, and I'm like married, and I have 2 kids, because a lot of people in my high school are now like married and they have children, sometimes working on their 2nd child. And I'm thinking maybe I would be like that. Maybe I'd have a beard like my dad, you know, living in a nice house with a family and having a good, successful job. But, you know, would I really be able to express myself the same I am now with YouTube and being able to just talk about anime and stuff? Would I really be able... I mean, I would still be interested in anime and stuff in this alternate reality. It wouldn't change the stuff I'm interested in. But it would just be like a more like just a normal kind of lifestyle, like, you know, get a good job at a typical kind of job. I don't know if bioengineering is that was just an example I pulled out of a hat. I don't want you to think like that's like I really wanted to be a bioengineer. I really didn't. I just pull anything out of there. I don't know, or I could be the nighttime janitor at the local McDonald's. I don't know, but I just have a typical 9-to-5 kind of job that pays decently. My wife has a job that pays decently. We have a relatively nice house, and we have some kids, and that's my life. kind of basic, right? Well, now I'm doing this. So yeah, that's my parallel version of myself. Also, how did your parents react when you told them you were going to earn money living on cringy videos? Like I said, they were kind of just like, we don't think you can do this because, they didn't grow up with YouTube. I didn't expect them to understand it. Like, like this thing that never existed when you were a kid, I'm going to use to make money now. It's just like, what? Like, you can't make money talking about anime on the internet. That's just goofy. I'm like, well, I proved them wrong, so there you go. And I have a great relationship with both of my parents. I'm not like vindictive at like my mom or my dad. Like, you never believed in me. Just like I can understand why they were a little bit It wasn't like they didn't believe in me. It wasn't like they were yelling at me. It was like, this sucks. Like they take my computer away from me and they like my webcam and they throw it against a wall. Just like, you gotta get a real job, Matt. Crack. Nothing like that. It's like they supported me. It's just like, hey, if it doesn't work, maybe you should, scale it back a little bit and focus on stuff that might work. That was how they did it. And now they're completely supportive of me. Oh, I know, I shut the... Oh, there we go. Hey, what do you think about cross-country track and field? This is from Andrea Prolati. Did you join those teams in high school? So I just already answered that. Like, yeah, I was not super into sports in high school. We're almost at an hour here. I don't know which number of question we're at. Hey, Tekking, you've been making D&D references lately. Did you play? So, we got about, Alright, so from Popeye's Twin. Popeye's Twin. Yeah, okay. That was more Mr. Krabs than Popeye, but I think Mr. Krabs is based more off of Popeye. Hey, Tekking, you've been making D&D references lately. Do you play? And if so, what's your best story? Okay, so... I'm really excited for this. I haven't played D&D yet, but hold on. Let me see. Now this is checkers. That's technically a tabletop game, but that's more checkers. Okay. All right. So now give me a second. All right, give me a second. I could just edit all this out and I could speed it along, but I think this is worth it. Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. Hold on. Give me a second. I gotta turn this thing around. All right. Okay. So, contrary to all this stuff, I have not played a single game of D&D, right? So what happened was, I've always been interested in D&D. What's the term when you're interested in D&D? You're D&DC, you're D&D curious or whatever. You're dungeon curious, dragon curious. That sounds more sexual. So let's go with that. So, I was watching plenty of video. I mentioned this yesterday when I did the medieval retrospective that I uploaded. Spoonie, the Spoonie one, Noah Antweiler, he did the Counter Monkey series, and I was really into that. And that's really my first introduction to like what D&D was really like and how cool it could be. And so for years, I was always kind of vaguely interested in it. Never really, because you got to understand, these books are kind of expensive. So back in like 2013 when I was watching Noah talking about Dungeons and Dragons, like I loved it, but at the same time I kind of knew like most of my friends at that time would not be into it. Like I love my friends, but I could see like I like it's only one of my friends that plays D&D. And all my other friends kind of just like not really super into it back then. So I didn't really want to shell out like all the money for the books because I just didn't have it. So it's just always something that kept in the back of my mind. So last November, it was in November, I was in a Barnes & Noble, and I was looking around, and they had a whole D&D section. They just set up, like, a brand new D&D section in the Barnes & Noble, and I'm like, you know what? I saw this, like, just this starter kit right here, and I just bought this, and this was only $20, and it just gives you a little bit of a... It doesn't give you all of this. These are other stuff I bought. These are spellbook cards because spellbook cards are awesome. But, it gives you, like, just the basics. It gives you, like, here's one of the adventures. Here's a starter set rulebook. Here's some dice. Here's some character sheets. Here's just, like, basics on how to get started with the game, And so I bought that, and I read through the starter book and everything. And then I went and I bought... the core books right here, the 5th edition core books, and a bunch of spellbook cards, and I'm just like, there was a moment where I was sitting here looking at these, and I was just like, why am I buying all this stuff if I'm never going to play the game? Because you need a group. That's kind of the whole point of D&D. And it's like, I'm just, you know what? I'm just going to buy these books and read about the game and learn about as much of it as I can, and then someday, I don't know when it's going to be, but someday I'm feeling like it's kind of the same thing with YouTube. It's like I'm feeling like this is for a purpose. I'm going to stumble upon a group that like to play D&D, that know what they're doing, that has like a dungeon master that is experienced and knows what they're doing, and I can join that group. And I kind of did. So I was hanging out at my one friend's Rob's the other night, and he introduced me. There was another guy that got there. I'd known Rob before. Rob actually not lived, but he worked a few doors down from me when I was at Dollar Tree. He worked at a liquor store. I worked at Dollar Tree. And so I knew Rob, and I was hanging out down at his place, and then his friend Frank came over, and Frank was an awesome dude. He's like this really huge beard and like epic hair and everything, like a heavy metal kind of rocker hair. And he was really into D&D, and he's dungeon mastered for a bunch of campaigns. And he's like, yeah, if you want to get a campaign together, we can do that. And I squeed. I was like, yeah, I squeed. So I think it's all going to pay off now that I actually bought all this stuff. I also bought some other stuff. I just recently got this. I actually got this in the mail yesterday, Volo's Guide to Monsters, because I love reading about lore for monsters and things. This was a 3rd edition. I actually found this at Goodwill. Yeah, I was in Goodwill and found a 3rd edition monster manual at Goodwill for like $5. So that was cool. And this is Curse of Strahd, which it's about vampires, so I had to buy this. But other than that, I've been reading more just on the core books and everything, and I have my character, like I'm working on that this week. So hopefully we can make this like a regular thing, and I can play D&D, because you know, I've been interested in it for a while, and I've been really more interested in it in the last like 6 months or so when I went and bought the books, because I realized, like, because I quit Dollar Tree when early December. I put in my 2 weeks notice in November. Yeah, early December I quit Dollar Tree, and then I'm done with school. So I thought, all right, I'm done with school, I'm done with work. All I'm doing is YouTube. I need something else to kind of fill the gap there. And so it was winter, so I couldn't really get out and do a lot of stuff there, so I just started researching into D&D, something I've always been interested into. So that's something else. Like, and by the way, this is me. This is me going overkill with everything. Like, you could just get the starter kit. Like, if you're interested in D&D and you don't know really if you're gonna like it truly, just get the starter kit. It's $20. And you might even be able to find it cheaper off Amazon, because I bought this at Barnes & Noble, and everything's marked up in Barnes & Noble. Like, all these books, like the Curse of Strahd, this was like $50. Like, these are all like $50 books at Barnes & Noble. I got them for a lot cheaper. Like, this Volo, that's also $50 at Barnes & Noble. I bought this for like $23 off of Amazon. So you could probably find cheaper, prices for this. But get the starter set, read through the book, and just see if it's something that you would be interested in. And if you are, then see if you can get a group together or look around for groups. I know there's online groups. People are so nice to me. People are so kind. They're always just like, hey, if you're really interested in D&D teching, we do online campaigns and we can invite you and you could do it. And I'm like, I appreciate it. I really do. I maybe one day I will do like an online campaign, but I want my first campaign to be a real life thing. You know, I want that experience of sitting around a table with a bunch of my friends and doing fantasy shit. You know, that's the thing that kind of just tickles my fancy right now, and that's really what I'm excited for. But maybe when I get more my chops on it, like my role-playing chops, maybe we'll get to a point where we can do like a online D&D session or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so D&D coming up soon. I'll keep you updated on as that goes. All right, Tufty Tutemuller. If you had to choose a new country to live and work in, which one would it be? Canada probably, because it's the closest to America, but also England. I think England, I think I'd be fine in England. You know, I'm Scottish originally, so I can, England. Okay, the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is all one big... I have a chart. Thank God for CGP Grey that provided this lovely chart to keep everybody in the world clued in on what the fuck England is going... What the hell's going on up here? But it's confusing for American plebs like myself. I'm Scottish! I'll move to Scotland. Alright, awesome. I have a castle there. I have Crawford Castle. It's in ruins, but we have it. Alright. What's the next one? What are your plans... This is from Marcus. What are your plans, if any, for after you decide to stop making videos for YouTube? I guess get a regular job. See, the thing is, I think what a lot of people should do, like, for the future, if you are doing YouTube and you're making a living off of YouTube right now, you should not just assume that that's going to be for the rest of your life. I mean, honestly, you really shouldn't assume that for any job. Like my dad. My dad worked at the Coca-Cola bottling company for, like, 27 years. okay, when he was like in his 50s, he got laid off and he got fired. But we didn't fire. He was just the boss. The management changed, and it was like a completely different place than where he was at, and he ended up quitting. You know, but my point is, like, he thought he was going to live the rest of his life working at Coke and then retiring when he was working at Coke, and then that's just not how life went. So you should always have backup plans for this. Even if you feel like the thing that you're at right now, like you've been working there for a decade or more, and you're cemented in there, you're never gonna change career paths, you just never know. At my college I went to, so one of my professors, my advisor really, I went to go see him a few weeks ago, about a month or so ago. You know, I was talking to him and everything, and he's basically being let go. You know, he was at the college was doing some restructuring and everything, and it's just like, oh, we're changing things around, so we really can't have you. So it was like a nice way of saying you're fired, but at the end of the day, it was like, yeah, we're letting you go. And he was like, he had tenure, and he was a professor for years there, and now he has to get a new job, and he's like older in his life. So you can never know for certain. So that's why I got my bachelor's degree. That's why I'm not saying that getting a bachelor's degree will guarantee you a job, but it's better to have one than not to have one, you know. And it's like, you know, I could have dropped out of, and I've even known people that have done that, you know, do YouTube and then they drop out, and while they're in college, like, I'm just going to do YouTube full time. That's fine if you can save up enough money. I think you'll be good, but it's better to have it. And my immediate backup is actually Walmart, because my mom works at Walmart. She's been there for like 21 years, and she knows everybody there, and I could get in there like no problem. So if the YouTube game never works, if it ever gets to ooh, it's thundering outside. I hope the power doesn't go out. So if it ever gets to the point where my like channel's not making money anymore, like the whole thing's demonetized, and it's like, you know, no more anime content on YouTube, you're banned. Be like, okay, as an immediate backup, like, obviously I've saved money. I'm not like, you know, just throwing my money away. I have a private island in the South Pacific. That's where all my money went. But no, like, I saved up money, so I'll be okay for a while. But also, it's like, I could go to Walmart. That way I can at least get health insurance. You know, I can get that through that job. And then while I'm working there as kind of a buffer, I can work out maybe some other place to work, maybe at a news station, which is what my degree was in, like communications, journalism, and stuff. But it's really, I know you don't like to think about it because you like to think like good times are here to stay. It's like, I'm just going to be doing YouTube forever, and I would love to keep doing YouTube for the rest of my life. But you just don't know. You need to have some sort of backup, like the immediate backup. Like, okay, what happens if you wake up and your channel's gone and you're not making money off your videos anymore, and it's like you've been permanently deleted from YouTube and you got to find a new thing to do? You should at least have something as a fallback, you know, something immediately to pay your bills and take care of your health insurance and everything, you know? So I have that, but beyond like anything else, yeah, you should really come up with something. It's just a smart idea. Okay, I'll take a few more. This might be a bit of a personal question, but what was your prom and homecoming like in high school? Love your channel. That's from Six Armed. Okay, do you have 6 arms? Okay, that's pretty cool. You have 6 arms. You can get a lot of shit done. Okay, so when I was in high school, I never went to a homecoming dance, and I only went to one of my proms. I went to my senior prom. I was actually not going to, but my mom kind of pushed me to do it. She was just kind of like, hey, this is your senior prom, and you haven't went to any other dances. You should really, it's your senior prom. You should go, you know. So I was going to go just with my friends, because I asked one girl out on, you know, to go, and she turned me down, and she's like, no, I'm not going with anybody. I'm just going with a group of my friends. I'm not dating anybody. So I was like, all right, cool. So I was going to go with my friends. I had a friend that her boyfriend was a freshman. She was okay, I was a senior, she was a junior, her boyfriend was a freshman. Her boyfriend flunked out of English, so he could not go to prom, because you need to pass, like, your core subjects, and if you don't pass your core subjects, you can't do extra activities. So we've been friends for years at this point. She asked me if I would want to be her date. We just went as friends, and we had a great time. Nothing really super crazy happened at prom. It was actually kind of, the craziest thing was the food they served made everybody sick, except for the people that were smart enough to not eat it, like me, because I got food on my plate, and I sat down, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just kind of like, this doesn't look good. So I had like a roll. And like, I think some like vegetables, but they're like, whatever meat they were serving made a lot of people sick that night. Not like horribly, like they were puking all over their dresses and tuxes and everything, but it was like, you know. So I went to prom. My prom was held, also remember the place it was held was not the greatest. Next to my high school, there was an ice skating rink, and they literally just had the prom there. They just melted the ice and then just set up like little curtains and white sheets and little lights and stuff, and there's your prom. I'm like, you couldn't even rent out, like, a shitty ballroom, because there was like a shitty little one-story ballroom in town. They couldn't even rent that out. They couldn't even go to, like, I don't know, the conference room at, like, a Holiday Inn or something. Like, you couldn't even do that. It's just like the little freaking ice skating rink next to the school. That's where we're having them. All right, fine. So it wasn't the most glorious prom ever. I can't say I had a shitty time. I can't say I had an amazing time. I was with my friends. We danced. I learned how to slow dance. That was good because I didn't know how that worked. But nothing, like, crazy happened that night, so that was prom. All right. Let's see. Question. Do you think the Marines view the average Joes of the One Piece world differently if they are willingly citizens of pirates' territory compared to a country allied with the world government? Okay, so I like this question because this kind of gives like a whole new introspective into like the propaganda that the world government spreads. So the question is like, how do the Marines treat people living in like world government islands as opposed to citizens living in like Totland? Because, you know, Big Mom is evil, but the citizens living in Totland are not all evil. They're just people coming together living very peaceful lives. You know, not everyone in Totland is a member of the Big Mom Pirates or is a homie. They're just regular citizens and minks and just, you know, fishmen and merfolk just living there, you know, together peacefully. A lot of islands are actually kind of paradise. I mean, you got to give that soul toll. You got to pay the soul toll to get employed the boy soul. You got to do that in order to stay there. But, I mean, like, beyond that, it's kind of a nice place, just island to island, except whenever Big Mom goes on her, like, hunger pang, right? Like, wedding cake rampage. So I like to think that maybe a lot of times the world government sends out propaganda to the world. Like, you know, the people that choose to reject the world government, those are the people that are truly, like, they're not, maybe they're less than human. They're trying to undermine us. They're trying to take over the world, which Big Mom, I think, kind of is trying to take over the world, so I guess that kind of makes sense there. But you can imagine, like, in the Marines, like, he's like, oh, we'll come and save you. Where are you at? We're in Totland. It's like, oh, no, we're not even going there. Sorry, good luck to you, chick. You know, so I think there is a way that they would be treated differently. And by the way that the world government paints those people that choose to live in a Yonko territory, probably paints them in a negative light, too, for the rest of the world. All right, I think that's going to be the last question here. Maybe I'll do another one of these, because like I said, I have no shortage of questions on this video. I could basically just drag a bunch of questions out of the pot whenever. But I'm going to end it off with this question from Chris Toff. When did you learn to beat your meat? September 15th, 2006. Pamela Anderson. Okay. I think that's a good place to end it. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating in the hashtag Tech8 week. I'm going to get going. I'm going to clean up all this Dungeons & Dragons material. Tomorrow will be the video for the Bleach era. Yes, the Bleach era, the second part of the documentary. And the One Piece part will be, I'm actually not done editing that. I'm actually going to finish editing that today. And so that'll be up on Sunday with some other videos sprinkled in between. So check back here. And thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for the questions. Signing out.